hinted, you said there's a major activity because we're happy from any ETV. Now, if I know the Sports Summit, when you for and I pay. Yeah, be bobo in some no home. Me I believe said 10 minutes to have this conversation. Benya, good morning.
Sammy, good morning.
Let's say.
Name Adaroma.
And I said I don't sound 200 say good boy. Be there see anymore.
Oh,
What you be a good boy? I said to say so.
oh, be a good
That
boy.
be there because in the next 10 minutes you better talk already so.
And yeah, na as a common, so many foul. So many foul.
Yo, you there? That's it. Mr. Cosby, good morning.
Good morning.
Maybe be our code.
Nyame adumboko.
That's it. What do you mean, Kasa? Yeah, I'm
Ehun nkofo ni wa bojina we jan sa no.
I'm listening there. Yes,
officer di ehun.
yes, in the field.
Officer di.
But say you dey be na fi ma start at tremendous come na adwene na super dey na me wie.
Wa potos na bede musa. Potos na bede musa.
Okay.
Anyway, Sports Summit.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, a gathering of industry people, sports industry people to have a conversation. Conversation are usually, man for be on behalf of, bano the national team who some man could be shy away from it, especially the stakeholders.
Okay.
Yeah, you which now, actually I know sometimes because of the fact that you may be misrepresented, no, people don't want to talk, especially official. But we're a platform, a creative for all the stakeholders to come together and have a conversation, honest, open conversation about something that we think that also out of the solutions, baba. I'm a create a very enabling environment for our national team to thrive.
And the Sports Summit, no, it means every discipline is considered, or we are looking at soccer.
Because we're a World Cup year, and this is the first of many to come. This is the first one of many to come. But because it's World Cup year, now World Cup in China, but not Ghana. I do my Kobe. You say football, sports, a chassis. This one is specific to football. But in subsequent editions, no, we would expand it. We would do more. Of course, there are topics or also doing common in various sectors. We would do that. Indeed, we are thought leaders in this space. A ban happy in ETV in GMA. We paved the way in some of this conversation. Don't forget, any the first ever presidential debate in the history of football elections on the continent. It being said that. And people should expect that there are some high standards for us to meet. Interesting.
Of course, we'll come to you shortly. But final one, you spoke about stakeholders and the fact sometimes because of certain fears, one more. By stakeholders, who are you referencing?
Or say, because stakeholders in football, you can't players, administrators, you can't ministers designated for that sector, sports. You can supporters, you can journalists. Omina boom lay stakeholders, but they are principal actors. The emotions in the territory, account management. But in the area of financing the national team, for instance, they are real stakeholders involving the players, the administrators, and the ministry. And how to finance our national teams. I mean, what are the best models? What can we learn from? Best practices elsewhere. And in this specific discussions, stakeholders, the principal actors, football administrators, and of course, the ministry and the Ghana Football Association, a governing body of sports in this country. And how to finance our national teams, appearance fees, bonuses structure, and sustainability.
Well, Brenya has given us a hint of the topic that we are going to be treating for this special one, but. Who are speaking at this first edition of the Sports Summit? So
the first edition of our Sports Summit will be on the 31st of August. Okay. Accra City Hotel. Okay. Gracefully, Accra City Hotel has offered to host us, to have this platform for our sports enthusiasts and our sports industry. Who are speaking? We have a couple of guests who've already confirmed who are all going to be there. The ministry will be there. There are some key personalities in the sports fraternity that will be. I won't be, letting the cat out of the bag because we will do unveiling of our speakers who will be on the. But I mean, the Ministry of Sports will be there, and so that one I want to put that one out so that just so that people will know that we're not doing it just amongst ourselves and playing is a child's play thing. It's a carefully thought out program that we are putting together and presenting a platform where the conversation that we would have on that platform will go further to deepen, our football industry and properly structure how we support and maintain our national teams.
All right. Now, any of you can pick my final, last but one question up. Now, there are several concerns within the football, circles. Some which has to do with the administration, like you mentioned. Some which has to do with infrastructure for, these sporting activities. Why the focus on financing?
Well, so back here, the last time I called World Cup in Brazil, we became world ridicule. Nina fa sikasem. You remember the famous Brazil incident?
Yeah.
I set up a commission for inquiry into those matters. We think that since the Nyanko World Cup, this is our first time after that particular incident. And we think that we should have some closure and some clarity in our minds as to as a nation what we want, what we can afford. Of course, not doing this, not taking out the players' perspective as well. What is the argument for them? And I'm sure when it comes to that, a lot of players have strong opinions on the fact that look, born here, you're monoquasa.
Yeah.
I say, oh, yeah, doctor, so to make us strive for based on a condition of service. I didn't have maybe national team. I wasn't born free. Jerry Kamiku got injured in the last friendly game to the 2014 World Cup, and since then, he's never been the same again. Yeah. And some players would make, and of course, I've propounded very genuine arguments. We deserve to be paid, So this for us, we want to prevent what happened in Brazil, so that all of these areas are sorted. And of course, not just for this World Cup, but also going forward. That is a clear national policy on some of these things, so that anytime we now say how much these players are taking, and people withdraw their attachments from the national team, and without it, we don't do well. So there's a reason why we want to do this.
Let me add that. So we're talking finance not because it is the only topic, to discuss, but it's the backbone of every industry.
Yeah.
How you finance that industry is key, because you'll be making some financial gains from that industry, but what you put back into it is key. And what you put back, is it sustainable? How do you support the structure? How do you make sure that it is something that is sustainable? And so we picked up to discuss this finance bit based on some of the things that he's talked about. But there are several other key issues within the sports industry that in our subsequent summits we'll be discussing. Some of the disciplines that we'll be taking up to discuss. But we think that it is timely that we're going to the World Cup. The euphoria of Ghana qualifying to the World Cup and all the fanfare and stuff, we seem to forget that there are people that we're going to send, 22 people that we're going to send out there to go and work for us. And how are we supporting them financially and emotionally?
All right. I have 2 minutes. I will give you a minute in terms of the programming bit. If I am not able to make it to the venue for the event, and if all of us are invited anyway, would there be live telecasts, live, streaming on social media, and then maybe Happy FM, which is a sports station, also picking it? Can we listen from our homes? Can we watch from our homes? All those.
So it's a program that we put together for our viewers and our audience across the world. And so on every platform that our programs reach, this event will be live on those programs. But in terms of programming, as you've just mentioned, ETV's structure to bring sports to the fore is key. And so today, this morning, we will be having a live telecast also of the Teen Talent Hunt, which we talked about. We've shown some of the audition and clips and stuff. The final, contestants for the theme will be going head to head starting from today, their first week of activities that will be broadcasting. And so on the 31st, yes, the event is based on, is by invite. We're inviting stakeholders so that we can come and have this conversation. But we will have it live on television, on radio, and online for our viewers and audience across the world.
Interesting. Final comments?
Well, for me, I'm more interested in the panel. It's important. Say, panel, I'm very, very interested because Nipa or Kasan or why the any experience in that particular field. And so almost stay with ETV Ghana, both on air and online. From Echna, you was at a panel on Hontuba. But there are some very interesting names in there. I'm sure to say, Pa Hontuba, and say, you agree with me that they are indeed the people who ought to speak on these matters.
Interesting. All right. Until 31st, we need to follow. When you invite to be on day, you need to be present. But for those of you who might not get the invite, it will be live on all our platforms, ETV, Happy FM, and then on social media as well. It will be streaming live. So let's make it a point to be a part of it. But again, follow our social media handles, and you see how we are going to unveil our resource persons, our panelists who are going to help us do justice to the issue when it comes to finance and sports, and in this respect, soccer in our country.